Hey guys!
Hey.
Welcome to another episode of the Grae Area Podcast.
Great area. Woo! Yeah.
I am Shakoya D.
Being Breeze. It's your boy Damani.
And this is the Grae Area. If this is your first time joining us, this is a podcast about whatever we feel like talking about love, life, just everything. Any and everything in between music and just stuff. We go deep, we got a different perspective, and we want to share that perspective with you guys. So thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and tell a friend, and tell a friend, and tell a friend. But let's hop into the topic today. What are we talking about?
Today's topic is, how do you stay in the present if you see your you literally see your reality changing in front of you?
So it's very interesting. It's funny that you asked that question because I was having that issue today. When I set my daily intention this morning, I was like, today I'm going to just stay in the present. I said present. Focus on staying in the present. I'm going to just be here in the moment, each moment, and accept it and appreciate it as it is. And then something happened and I just did not do that. I just did the complete opposite of that. It was just thinking about the future and it just kind of messed up my day. But I realized for me, the key to staying in the present, even though I can see everything changing, is me actually taking time to rest. I recognize, because this is the same feeling that I used to have, before I started therapy, and I was like, yeah, I always start things and then I just be wanting to just stop it, or I just randomly stop. And it's like, oh no, you're tired. You're trying to ignore your exhaustion. So rather than focusing on the fact that you need to rest, you're thinking about everything else. Because in this moment, you need to rest. And if I'm in this moment and I'm present here, then I'm taking the time that I need to actually sit down somewhere and stop doing stuff. So I realized for me, the key to staying in the moment, even while things are changing right before your eyes, is me actually resting.
Or I feel that about rest. I be needing to rest. I haven't learned that skill yet. I learned how to nap. Next step is resting.
Yeah.
I would say it's funny because I think, you staying in the present is also, to acknowledge the fact that things are changing, you have to be in the present. To me, that's how I've been thinking about it. Because if I'm not in the present, then I can't even acknowledge that, this is something just happened, something major just happened, something minor just happened. So when I thought about this, the question I thought you were gonna ask was, how do you stay in the present but also plan for the future? Because that's something that I've been trying to figure out, because I have ideas of what I want the future to be, but it's not here yet. So it's I have ideas of what I.
Pardon me, that's my dog. Taking a nap. She's resting. She's mastered that. I was looking down the camera is down.
But it's hard. For me, it's hard because on the one hand, I have to actively plan for the future, right? But I also have to understand where I'm actually at. So it's just a weird combination.
But that's the.
You want me to get her real quick? Let me get her real quick.
But I feel like that's the thing for me, right? I start to think and try to look so far in the future because I'm avoiding trying to... of course, I'm here in the present. Physically, I'm here. And parts of me mentally is nah, we need to stay over here. We need to stay over here. But there's other parts of me that's nah, but what about tomorrow when it rains? And then in 7 days when the sun comes back out. But then also in 2072, you got to make sure this other... So it's I can't even focus enough on now. So it's harder. So for me, I can't even until I get the rest that I need, even if it's just for like me, just an hour, allowing myself to actually rest. Um, I can't stay in the present long enough to even recognize what I need for the future. Um, that's what I realized about myself, and I mean it's probably different for everybody. Um, but it's like I'm so focused on, because it's not even like I'm focused on the future aspects that actually matter. It's like I'm just like, but what are we gonna cook for dinner in 2072? Once you know, like, are we gonna have a like that's not the stuff that I need to be even thinking about right now. So yeah.
Right now, I'm mainly just trying to stay calm, stay relaxed, like just stay relaxed. Um, I'm gonna think about the future. Well, actually, yeah, I want to stay relaxed, but also I'm planning for next year. Mm-hmm. Not for next year. I already know what next year. I know what next year is for, so I'm planning for that following year. So, yeah, I just want to take my time and take my time, stay calm, relaxed, and execute, finish stuff, finish everything I started, and not really have too many expectations. Like, I expect myself to do great things, be great, amazing, but not try to control what that looks like. And one of the biggest things that I want to do, I told myself the other day that I need to work on the art of planning ahead. So, me basically planning for the year after next is going to help me plan ahead. Mm-hmm. So, just know what I want to do, what I want stuff to look like, but still be flexible, calm, not rushing nothing. Just
and that's what I think. That's where, like, for me, that's where the conflict is like, all right, how much of it should I plan, right, and how much of it, because like you can try and plan your entire life and it's not gonna, it might not go the exact way that you want it. So, pardon me. So like, but yeah, you can plan and it's like it might not go the way that you want it, but you shouldn't go in without a plan. So it's like how much for me it's trying to figure out how much wiggle room do I give myself, how strict am I to the plan.
I say, like, this is what makes sense to me. When we used to be in school, in grade school, I like when people say that. We used to be in grade school, and English class, you make an outline. So you have attention getter, you got first paragraph, the topic of the first paragraph, the transition. But then you fill everything, like you fill everything in. So I know what I want to do, but I'm not trying to make it look like this. Mm-hmm. But I just know, I know what I'm working towards, but I give everything else free range. God, the universe, to do what they do, and just keep it going. That's what makes sense to me.
I like that.
I feel like y'all making me feel like I need to plan a little bit more. Because
you way better than me.
Mm-hmm. I don't think I am though, because or maybe I need to revisit my plans more often to kind of help me put back into perspective what I need to focus on now. I think maybe that's what it is, like, because I'll write out a plan, I'll write out goals, but then it's like if I don't go back to it, I don't necessarily like fully remember it. Right. So even with my values, I started writing them every day, because when I first just wrote them out, I was like. Like, if you asked me, I would not be able to tell you. I would be able to tell you, like, one or two of them. And then the rest, I'll just be like, I mean, let me go. I wrote it down somewhere. And, let me go grab a book. But now it's like I write them every day. So, like, if I write them every day, I'm reminding myself, this is your focus. This is, like, what you're working toward or who you are. This is, like, a reminder of, don't put it down, put it away type of thing. Like, just the little things. And I think I need to revisit my plans and my goals and look at them often. Because if I don't, I start thinking way too far in the future. Or about other just unnecessary things that I don't need to put my focus into.
Yeah, I mean, that's what the importance of, like, the goal card is, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why you have your goals, and you're supposed to be able to see it every day. You know, that's something that
the goal card.
But no, it's funny. When I was in college, I remember I used to, when we used to get things done, I used to have a list of things that I wanted. Like, whenever I got something done, I would check it off on a list, and we would have it started off as a little competition. So we would just have all of our lists up there, and anytime we did something, we just put it up there. So it's like I can keep a record of I can keep a record of it, and then I started putting pieces of paper on the ceiling, or like with things that I wanted to achieve, and just so that I can, like, when I wake up, first thing I'm looking at, I was like, oh, I almost forgot. Like, let me look at the ceiling. Let me look at the, you know, just on the way to whatever I'm doing. Just making sure I do that. There was another point I was gonna make, but I forgot it. But yeah.
With the goal card, I probably should make another goal card, just because. And I used to use it as a bookmark.
Yeah.
So whenever I'm reading, when I open a book, it's like, oh, it's right there. So now I read it, and then when I'm done reading, I see it again. I'm like, you know what? Probably should read this again. So I read it again. So it was like on the top of my mind, even if I wasn't thinking about it, it's still kind of fresh on my mind. And that's the same thing about writing my values down. I haven't written them down. Again, they on my whiteboard, but like I see them, but I don't see them.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I have a plan for my whiteboard too. It's gonna be fire, just so I can see like my overall plan. And I want to do it how like detectives be.
I was just picturing how, like I was like, it's either gonna be that or it's gonna be a map. He gonna draw out every little thing, and it's gonna be like a map.
Yeah,
I like that. I might have to borrow that one. I don't got a whiteboard yet, but yeah. And something that I really just recently started doing, like 2-3 days ago. I just started writing out, like, just making predictions. So, like, I was like, all right, I predict by the end of this year I'm gonna have this done. I predict by, like, as opposed to me saying, like, I want to get this stuff done. Like, I predict, like, if I do, in my mind, it just makes me feel like it gives me more wiggle room to be like, all right, let me take a guess to see what's gonna happen next.
But I don't even think it's a guess, because I say it's not a guess because I'm learning in real time. Side note, my new word is declaration. That's my new word. It's a declaration. So when you declare something, that's different than just saying, like, just saying something.
Mm-hmm.
So I want this, blah, blah. That's just saying what you want. But I equate a declaration with decisions. So once you truly decide, this is what I'm doing, it always happens.
Yeah, I like that. And what I was just leaning to what I was trying to say was, with the predictions, it forces me to be creative, to think past the moment. But like I'm in the moment enough so that I can, like, all right, let me take, if I'm taking an educated guess, if I'm thinking of similar to what you're talking about, in terms of like I'm declaring what's gonna happen, but just like it allows me to be more creative about what the possibilities could be. Because, like, I feel like if you don't think about what the possibilities could be, it's like, all right, it could be anything, but then when you actually think about it, it really could be anything. Okay. So, like, let me actually write it down. Let me just take a, even if it's just a guess, like, and then as I go through and I read them, I'm like, all right, I like that. Like, this is something that, and then now it's in my mind. So now the fact that I can think about it, so, all right, this was even if it wasn't necessarily a goal, even if it was just, like, again, an idea, it's like now I can think about it more. And in comparison to before, I didn't actually have an idea. I was just kind of like all present out, which is like cool. That's something I feel like they don't tell you though. It's like you being in the present all the time, which is, I would love to, but like, how do you be in the present all the time and plan for the future?
I feel like to be in the present, I got two things. To be in the present all the time, I don't think it's good. I feel like you need to be present and plan for the future. But planning for the future you can't be consumed by the future. Yeah, that's what I have on that. Like, stay in the present and plan for the future, but don't be consumed by the future. Like, so if I'm doing this, and this by this date. If it doesn't happen, it's just not time. Um, yeah, so don't let that ruin your day. And my other point is about to take us somewhere else.
Oh, well, can I make my point
Yeah, go
before you
ahead.
do yours? I was gonna say I feel like you have to be in the present in order to plan for the future.
I like that.
Because
Learn
like
me
I was
something.
saying earlier, if I'm not here in this moment, I don't even know what I need or what I want, or like if I'm constantly like, even if whether I'm stuck in the past or I'm stuck in whatever future, I think that like my focus is on whatever future that's detached from this moment. It's like that doesn't necessarily mean that the future that I'm thinking about is serving me. So in order to think about a future that is going to actually serve me or serve my highest self, or however you want to look at it, or is the future that I want, I need to assess where I'm at in this moment, right? So like, let's say I'm depressed or something like that in this moment. Okay, I can't keep running from that and just think about the future when I'm not depressed. It's like, all right, I need to think about, how do I get out of this depression? Like, do I need to see somebody? Do I need to talk to somebody? Do I need to write? Like, what is going to help me to get to whatever future goal I want to get to, whatever future self I want to look like? But I have to start here.
Yeah.
So I think that the thing is, same thing, not getting consumed with the future, but it's not just about the dates, right? It's not just about getting consumed with making this amount of money by this time, or doing this thing by this date. Some of it is really just allowing yourself to feel what you feel today, so that you can figure out either, yes, I want to feel like this tomorrow, or no, I don't want to feel like this tomorrow. And how do I make that happen? That's just my perspective on it. I feel like you can't, I guess, properly or efficiently plan for the future that you want without being in the present. Like, you can look to the future. I think that's the thing. We be trying to go to the future instead of just like looking toward the future, like seeing, oh, maybe I want to do this, like going outside of the box, how you were saying, like the predictions. That's something that allows you to be here. You still acknowledging where you are today, so that you can make a prediction for what you want to happen or what you think is going to happen, and then from there, all right, now I can map out how I'm going to make this prediction come true. Like, just, I feel like that's important, and we don't really talk about that enough. Like, we talk about staying present, which, I mean, I'm one of those people, but what I had to learn is that literally in this moment, like today, is that I have to be here in order for me to properly plan for my future. I can't just jump to the future and try to bypass this moment.
I feel like with being present, it's being aware.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like that, like awareness, being present in its simplest form is awareness.
I agree.
That's it. Yeah, to make it simple for myself, like thinking about, okay, how do I stay present? Now I'm inadvertently saying I'm not present, or feeling like I'm not present. So I feel like it'll be easiest to just acknowledge that I'm aware. Be aware of what's going on around me, what situation I'm in, how how did I get here? Who's going to get me out of this situation? The other day I seen somebody talking about a book. I think it was, it's not how, it's who. So focus more on who can help me with this, opposed to how am I going to make this happen. And I feel like if community is one of the biggest things, then I should be thinking about who can help me with this, or who can I help with this, or who can I partner with to get this done, and then that'll help actually, I don't know the word, something, relationships, garnish relationships, nurture, yeah, and actually be appreciative.
I would say
foster. Yep, that's
it.
the word. Yeah, that was just based off what you said. But what you said, what I was thinking about, because you said you was talking about creativity, and you said something too.
What predictions? What?
Yeah, you talked about the predictions and saying how it allows them to create. But I say that to say this whole adulting thing, I didn't realize how creative you have to be as an adult until probably like yesterday. Like you're literally creating everything that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Like every day you wake up, it's a blank page, and it's like, okay, so what do I want to do today? Like you're literally choosing. Now it's like now I see why it's a game. Like in my head, I just see like an avatar walking, just walking, and like, okay, do I want to go left, right? I think I'll go straight. It's a pizza store over there. Oh, I am kind of hungry. Let me get some pizza. Like you literally choosing everything, and it's kind of cool.
It's funny because I think it's almost in some ways it's a direct reflection of your childhood, but in some ways it's a complete contrast because when you're a kid when you're younger you don't have foresight. Like you don't look like everything. You're always in the moment. Like nothing. Like there's, and that's the reason why when you're younger, like even when you talk about your first heartbreak, right? It feels like it's the end of the world because you've never had this experience before. So you can't see past anything that's in front of you. So then when you get older, and like now again, I don't know at what point you're forced to do it, but now you have to create. You have to kind of like start looking ahead. Now it's like, wait, I now I have to have enough foresight to be able to picture what's gonna happen, even though everything in my current circumstance looks nothing like that, which is such a backwards thing because like, oh, let's be present, but let's also plan for something that we haven't seen yet, and that's the reason why I was bringing it up is because like it's super hard to at least it was hard for me to be present, but also plan for something I've never seen before.
Go ahead.
I was about to say, I feel like planning for something that you've never seen before, that a way to help it is community. Just because sometimes you could only see so far, but whoever else you with may be able to see further or even from a different angle. So now you got different views and ideas just bounce off each other. So I feel like community plays a big part in terms of foresight, like picturing something, imagining something that you've never seen before.
And what I was gonna say is, I feel like that's where the creativity comes in, because of the fact that a lot of times we're walking into something that we never seen before, even if it's just like of course what we're doing is something that we haven't seen before, like as far as our careers, but also just like when you have kids, like when you start a family, when you like get married, when you do like everything is literally something that you haven't necessarily seen before from your own perspective. Even if you've seen other people do it, your experience is something that you have never witnessed before. So, I feel like that's where the creativity comes in. I feel like what's important is that we allow ourselves to be creative, because most times we get caught up in trying to do what we've seen other people do or what other people say this is supposed to look like, or whatever ideas we got from TVs or movies that like, okay, this is supposed to happen like this, when it's like that's not necessarily the reality of things. That's not necessarily your reality. That's not, may not even just be like what you created, right? So I think that's where like it's very important to allow yourself to be as creative as you can be in those moments, because I mean honestly that's where the fun kicks in life. That's also where like, I mean, you don't necessarily want to be in survival mode, but like that's where you start to make things happen. You start to see what your actual strengths are. You start to see what maybe some of your weaknesses are, where you might need community to help you out at, or like maybe you might have a vision for something, you don't know how to bring it to life, but then you meet somebody who, oh, I've been trying to figure that out too. I actually got further to this point, and this is the viewpoint that I was looking at it, and then y'all collaborate and create something that the world has never seen before. So I feel like Yeah, just allowing yourself to be creative. And I didn't realize that till this past week. like, like I know we've been being creative, but we've been being creative like in a box.
Yeah.
Like, and
I literally just wrote that down
Oh,
yesterday. What I wrote down was life isn't meant to be like creativity isn't meant to stay inside the lines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So why have I been trying to stay inside the lines? And then I was thinking about the reason why I didn't want to paint or why I hated coloring.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to stay inside the lines. If I get outside the lines, it's like I messed it up. So now it's like I gotta start over, throw it away.
But that's like I'm sorry to cut you. That's like the catch-22 of like being an art, like as an artist or as a creative, because we're all creators, right? You, on the one hand, you want to be as free and not have a box at all. But on the other hand, you need a box so that you can, if you give somebody too many options, you don't do anything.
But I think the creative part comes in collaboration with that is the fact that I can create my own lines.
You can.
Yeah.
So I can color where I want to color within whatever confines or constraints or whatever box I decide to create. But that's the beauty of it as well, is I can create the box. Like, we've been being creative within a box that somebody else made for us.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than like, oh, let me actually, you know what, I want to move this wall over here. I want to put this over here. Let me make this wall on an angle or something like that. You know, like building a house, kind of. Like, you can create your own box. You can create your own. Your box could be as large as you want it to be or as small as you want it to be. It could be open. It could be closed. Like, you can do whatever you want with it.
Open and closed.
Yeah, you can have openings. You can have closed spots too. Like, you can have windows and stuff like that. Just whatever. But like, you have to allow yourself to create your own space.
Yeah. And I feel like this is one of the first times, like knowing what I know now, this might be one of the first times I'm not scared of what if. Like, I don't really see any negatives after the what if.
Mm-hmm. You know, the same way, exact same way. Because it's like it's the same thing when me and her were talking. It's like why not? Mm-hmm. Right. It's the same thing. Like whenever I think about the future, whenever I think about the stuff that we're creating, it's like,
why not?
Yeah, like what if the whole thing is like, all right, most people say what if it doesn't work? What if it works better than I thought? And it's like to me that's oh wow, now I'm leaving room for stuff to happen that I couldn't see, you know.
And a lot of times it does work out better than you thought, and it will work out better than you thought.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, and it's just I don't know, all of it is so funny. And then when I think about the part of it being creative. Like, again, I didn't realize how much more creative you can be as an adult. Mm-hmm. But again, it's just creating within like we are limitless people, right? We can do whatever we want. But part of what makes it special is because like you don't have every option. Like you have every option, but you don't have every option available. Like so.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm saying so.
No, I agree.
Yeah, because it's like we have every option because we can create every option. But like some of the times, like all right, when you're trying to shoot a music video, and you don't have the camera, the lighting, the stuff that you want to make the idea, you start making it. Let me just make it with my phone. Let me make it with my friend's camera, and now you stumble across something that you would have never found if you actually had the thing that you originally wanted. If you actually had it, you wouldn't have found it. So because you were creative and because you had the things that like the tools that you had at that point, you made something new that wasn't there before. So I think some of the time, like as much as we love to talk about how like we can be anything, sometimes we need just a little bit of discipline, structure, just so that we can be creative within these lines, so that you know that all right, I can step out of here. It's almost like you got to know the rules to break the rules. Kind of thing. Like,
yeah, it really is that though, because then once you recognize like, oh, okay, this is where I've been operating at. I can do this other thing. Like I can. Okay, it's cool. I can make this other thing. I can make this other box. I can knock this wall out and just expand. I feel like that's just like that's where the fun begins. I don't know. For me, once I realized that, about a week or two ago, the things I've just been really excited about everything that I've been doing now, because it's like, oh, I can create something out of this. Like, I am creating the world. I was just writing this morning, and I was just thanking God, and I was just like, the fact that He entrusted me, just thanking Him for entrusting me with this journey and with the ability to create my own world, to create my own journey and stuff like that, and to collaborate with Him on creating these things. So, that's it. That's all I got. I forgot the rest of my sentence.
Right, sorry, but creating is, I don't know what I was about to say, but because it was like 5 different things that was going on. But with creating, this is what I was gonna say about your point. And then I'll go to creating. It's like you have to unlock opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't have every opportunity readily available for you, but once you take advantage of the opportunity that you do have, then you unlock another opportunity or another option. Like, we go to the camera. I don't have the camera that I want now. I don't got a 4K camera right now, but my phone works just as good as a 4K camera. So let me just do that. I can take it wherever. All I need is us three could make a video, like shoot a video right now.
Mm-hmm.
The software is free to edit it.
We already got lights.
We got lights. They got free filters. They got everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, it's not a professional video, but now when I get to a professional video, I have an idea what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So now it's more opportunities. People may like my video so much that they want me to direct their video or shoot their video.
Yeah.
Now I have an option to be like, you know what? I don't want to make music no more. I mean, see what this director life is like. Just little stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was gonna say that reminded me of the Deadpool when Ryan Reynolds, he was talking about the first one. He said he loved the first one because it was such, and I agree. I think there was like a magic in the very first one.
Mm-hmm.
But then he said when he got the second one, they got a bigger budget, and he was like, I almost feel like for the next one, I don't want to have that much of a budget, because it was almost like too much for me to work with. And I think sometimes, like, when you put, again, it's like almost like a back against the wall kind of thing. Like, all right, you have 3 things. Like, make magic out of these 3 things. You're like, oh, all right, cool. And you can see how much magic you can make out of it, as opposed to if you give somebody 25 things and you're like, I guess I can make this. I guess I can make that. And it's like sometimes it's overwhelming. Yeah, it's sometimes overwhelming. Yeah.
You give people too many options, they don't make a decision.
Yeah, which is, and that's what I'm learning. It's like, oh wow, okay. Like, to be creative as an adult, it's literally you using everything that you currently have, and whatever that is. Granted, even the things that you're like, you're aspiring to get something else, to be something else, but you have to use everything that you currently have in the most creative way possible.
And decide not to use certain stuff too.
That too.
Like,
Yeah.
Discernment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say it really all comes back down to the decision of things, because even when deciding if you want to, like, in creating your own lines, if you want to do more, do less, or like, you have to decide if you even want to color outside the lines, like, if you want to create more lines, or if you want to operate within the box that you initially started in. Like,
I'm about to only start coloring outside the lines. Everything inside the lines, keep it blank. Y'all gonna see me on this side.
But that's a decision too. Like, that is a conscious decision to do. So I feel like, yeah, that's all it is. It's decisions, creativity, and love. No, but I feel like I feel like we're entering into the fun part of adulthood, because we're starting to, like, really realize these things,
like,
and
it's not that deep.
it's like, oh, okay, I could just decide to do this. Like, of course there's things that we gotta do when we make the decision to make the things happen, but it's just like some of the times the hardest part is just the decision, and then stuff starts falling into place. I feel like I'm yelling, but we're here now.
It's passion.
But yeah, like, sometimes the hardest part is literally making the decision, and then Because when you don't make the decision, that's sometimes when you stop being in the present. When you start thinking about all of the potential options for the future and like, okay, if I do it like this, then this can happen. But if I do it like this, then that can happen. But what if I went this route? And you start thinking about all of the other things, and then you're not in the present.
Because now you just in your head.
Exactly. Yeah. Go ahead.
Now, all I was gonna say was I think a lot of being in the present is when it's almost when you focus on yourself too much. Like, so a good example is like when you walk into a party, right? Or if you walk into a party, if you before you go in there, if you tell yourself, "Dang, I don't want to be anxious, I don't want to be nervous," and you go in there and you're like, "I hope I don't look awkward," blah blah blah. You're not gonna have a good time because all of the energy is on you. Like it's literally internal, as opposed to like in the moment, right?
Oh.
There's feedback, there's people here, there's music playing, there's things here. But if you're only solely focused on again, I think you should be paying attention to how you feel. But I think if you solely focus on how you feel, you're gonna miss whatever the present moment.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I agree with that. You had initially said sometimes being in the moment means that you're in your head too much, so then I got confused, and then you explained what you were saying, and then I agree.
Yeah. No, but I just know for myself because there's been a lot of times where I'm thinking too much. Like I'm almost like, and I'm robbing myself of whatever the opportunity. Like there's feedback here. There's stuff that like I can take and use to my advantage, even if I don't. And even if you don't focus on how you feel, you kind of know how you feel without having to pay attention to it sometimes. Like not all the time, but like a lot of times you can tell if you're uneasy without you having to kind of go into it. Like, wow, I feel I feel a little, I don't know why, because as soon as you acknowledge the fact that you feel uneasy, now you're like, wow, yes, and now it's like, why do I feel uneasy? I don't know why I feel uneasy. So it's like, as opposed to just kind of being like, all right, I see what's going on. I see, all right, there's music playing. There's food over there. Let me see. Oh, I see, there's a person over there. I like that. I like your shoot. And it's like you're engaging with where you are. And I think that's like a big key of being in the moment. And because you have to be receptive of feedback. You have to be receptive of like what's going on around you. Otherwise, how are you in the moment?
And I feel like that goes back to what he was saying about being aware. It's more than just being self-aware. It's literally being aware of the actual moment. Like, what is this actual moment? And just allowing yourself to be there. Just be present there and enjoy yourself.
Yeah, and then you can expectation yourself to death. Even if we stay on the party thing. If before the party, you having an amazing time, and like, okay, I'm having an amazing time now. This party about to be way better than the pregame, and you like expecting certain things to happen. This be happening to me. I be having an amazing time by myself. I'm about to be with the people, and I'll just be like, wow, this is terrible. I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
But and that goes back to the beginning when I was like, I just want to be calm, relax, expect stuff, but leave room to adjust.
Yeah, leave room for the pivot.
Right.
But also leave room for God to do whatever he wants to do in that situation as well. You know, like, because a lot of times we get so set on how we want something to happen or how we want our blessing to come or what we want it to look like. We don't leave room for it to be bigger than we expected or for it to be smaller or it to be exactly what we needed versus what we thought we wanted.
Right.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think you just gotta leave room for the unexpected or just for extra, for the abundance. We talk about abundance, but we don't be leaving no room for the abundance.
The overflow.
Yeah.
And something that helps me when it comes to resting is when I work too much on something, I lose the ability to like find the like stuff that I wasn't expecting, right? So like the harder I work on something, sometimes the more I'm like, dang, I don't know where's the thing that I'm trying to put something together. Like I'm trying to think of an example. Like if I'm trying to shoot a video, go back to that, right? The harder I try to figure out like how do I make this creative, the more I lose it. So like when I'm resting, and this is the time where I don't have to, I can literally just kind of be idle and just kind of sit and just like, oh, I'm just chilling here. And I just happen to see a bird fly by. I thought that's a beautiful angle. was like, I wonder what it would be like to be, and it's like now the creativity is flowing
Mhm.
because I'm not doing anything.
Right.
Like my focus isn't on how do I build the next step, how do I make the next step. My focus is like, oh, let me just sit here, like, and that's what a lot of the times, like one of the times when we were doing the video, when I was doing the Hit Boy challenge or whatever, I was really trying to figure out. I don't want to rap on camera. I don't want to just rap into the camera. Like, I don't want to be looking at the camera the whole time. I was like, how do I do this in a creative way? And like she's trying to help me. Like, all right, we're gonna get this together. Get this together. I had to sit there for a second because I was like, I'm like, dang, the time limit is coming up. I'm starting to panic, and I just left my phone there, and I had like the camera on, and I just looked down, and I was like, that's kind of fire. Like, because I just stopped thinking about it. I was like, that's kind of fire. Let me just. And I was like, oh, I like that. Now I can do it. And it's like the second I stopped thinking about it, stop trying to make it work.
Yeah.
Stop trying to force how I feel onto whatever I'm trying to make. Then the stuff started working for me.
Yeah.
And that's just how it works for me.
He making a good point. But let me tell y'all, I was downstairs picking out stuff. I'm getting wardrobe together, hair, makeup, no makeup. But like I'm doing the things. And then I come back upstairs and the video is done. Nobody told me anything. That's all. But I agree. I agree though, because that's when I start thinking about so many other things, it doesn't leave room for my creativity. And I always forget that until I finally decide to rest. And then all of a sudden everything just start flowing. I'll be like, guess I really did need that day off. Like, but yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's it wasn't an awkward song. I was gonna say that's how I'm going into mixing now. Like the past couple of days, I'm not expecting anything. I already know it's gonna sound good, but it's like stuff that I'm not overthinking.
Mm-hmm.
The stuff that I don't know how I want to sound or how I'm gonna do it. Sometimes I just clicking stuff and it's like that might work. I'm gonna keep that, but I'm gonna need some ears to let me know if I'm wilding or not, because it sounds good to me.
Mm-hmm.
But, and just enjoy it. Yeah, just be in the moment, just enjoy it. Like, wow, I'm actually doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gonna be done. It's gonna be done soon.
Yeah.
It's only Monday. It'll definitely be done by Saturday. By next Sunday, it's gonna be done. And that's fine.
Yeah, and something I learned really recently is that there's, at least for me, there's a difference between, like, I'm using different parts of my brain when I'm writing versus when I'm recording or when I'm doing, like, so different tasks require different parts of my brain, right? And it's like very simple, right? But the creative part of me isn't the part that's thinking, if that makes sense, right?
It's just flowing.
Yeah, right? But the part of me that creates the story, that creates the big picture, that like understands how I understands how I feel, that part of me is thinking. Like, so I can't. And so for me, I didn't realize that it was a division, so that I can't write in the same place that I'm trying to feel from, or like I can't like feel my way through, just get the emotion out, and like also trying to process what this emotion means to me as a person and blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. It's like, nah, these are two different spaces. Yeah, exactly. So it's like I'm trying to reflect on the feeling as opposed to like, all right, this is the feeling that I have, now I can reflect on it. So like, if I'm sticking just to the music example, this is I'm talking about the feeling that I had when I recorded. This is when I can experience the feeling, or vice versa. So I'm just thinking, this is something that I'm realizing. I'm like, oh wow, because like when you're in a space when you're actually creating, being creative, the thing that you don't really want to do is think. Like, you're not really thinking. You're just kind of like, I mean, this thought that goes into some of it, like it's curiosity, but I don't think it's not really like.
It's more experiencing it. It's like being it in that moment, at least for me, rather than thinking about it. Because I know when I start to think about it and try to figure out how the story actually connects, because like I'll feel it and I'll just be writing it, and then like I'm trying to connect the dots, and it's like, no, you're losing the feeling now because you're trying to connect the dots.
Yeah.
Just like
trying to make it make sense.
I used to try to write like that, but for me, it doesn't work like that. Like a lot of times, I have to keep my body. Like my body has to be busy doing something. So then, my thinking mind. My thinking mind is focused on this task. Like when I was doing finish the verse before I finished cooking. My thinking mind is thinking about me cooking, what I'm gonna cook, how I'm gonna cook it. Oh, the rice is done. The rice. And like the beat is playing subconsciously. My subconscious mind is just writing. So a lot of times I'll go back and be like, that's fire. How I think of this? I ain't never been to but I like that.
Yeah.
See, for me, my physical body can't be doing, my thinking mind can't be doing stuff. Like, my thinking mind needs to take a nap.
But it's just like the stuff that I'm used to doing. So, like, muscle memory. So my body is busy. Like, if I'm in the shower, I know how to shower. I'm a professional shower. Professional. Washing, and then, my mind is just going.
I can't do that. I'll get distracted. Because I'm used to multitasking and doing a lot of things. So I won't be in my feelings. I won't be in that moment. So, like, I have to sit down and just be here. Like, that's, like, the time where I have to, like, literally be in the moment, completely, fully submerged into that moment is when I'm writing. Like, I can't be cooking. I can't really be, like, I can pace around, but not really. Like, I need to sit, and I need to be where I'm comfortable. Like, my most comfortable spot. And I write.
Yeah, all of my best stuff has come in motion. I have to, like, be... I'm a pacer. But yeah, I'm a pacer, so like I'll be pacing. I mean, one of the times I was cooking, I was doing the same thing. Like but it's I'm trying to cut cauliflower, and then the beat I'm running the beat back, and I'm like oh the rice, stir the rice, and like I'm doing other stuff, but in a similar way. But like my mind, like my actual focus, my attention is still on. It's on the feeling. Like it's not necessarily on what I'm.
Food come out fire. Yeah. You in a good mood. Like, I like that. Let me season that. Season it up.
Like I can do it. Like I have the ability to do it. I've done it before. But to get my best songs, I need to just be locked in. Just me and my songbook. Like, and the music if there's music. But I just gotta be locked in.
Me and my skateboard. Riding down the boulevard.
But yeah, like all that extra stuff, I'd be like, nah, I gotta go sit down somewhere because this song isn't. It's not coming out to the best of my ability right now. Or I mean, if it's for something and it's not for me, then I can just
Where did you write "Get Out My Face" at?
I was in the. Okay, I was either in my room or I was in the studio the closet that I was using at the time. So I was either sitting in there on the floor or I was in my room writing in the bed. I'm pretty sure I was sitting on the floor when I wrote that.
I was in the kitchen. I was making oatmeal.
Yeah, I was sitting on the floor. I'm pretty sure when I wrote that, and then I was like, okay. I think I know this is not just gonna be a just me song. Like this I gotta get Breeze and Damani on it, and I might get somebody else, but I don't know. But Breeze and Damani, those the people I need on this song. But yeah,
I got a question for y'all. When I was writing it, I was up here pacing. I actually wrote it in my iPod. So I'm just like, let me just go ahead and do it. But when you guys are creating, is it easier for you guys to create with like a point of view or like the topic in mind, or do you write and just happen to stumble across the topic?
I stumble across the topic because I just be going like. The only time I wrote with a topic is if I'm on somebody else's song. Yeah, that's the only time I roll on the topic. Get out my face. Y'all know the topic. Y'all know the topic, but yeah, all my stuff, it's the feeling first. Most of the time I don't have words. Sometimes words just come, like, it just be like, I hear it, I'm like, oh, I like that. And I just, boom, quick. But a lot of times it's just the feeling, however I feel. So, party with me. It's a feeling. That's how I was feeling. I was in the kitchen when I wrote that. But yeah. I focus on the feeling first. And then, once I'm in that feeling, words will come.
Yeah, I try to focus on the feeling first as well. I can write with a topic, like, yeah, I can write with a topic. But for my songs, a lot of times I try to go wherever I feel like the beat is taking me in that moment. And I try to literally, like, ride the whole wave, like, all the way through to finish the song. I feel like, yeah, even before when I wasn't writing to beats, it was more of a feeling thing. It wasn't necessarily a topic, but words would come to me and then I would kind of like just go and see where the feeling took me, I feel like. I feel like if there's a topic, sometimes, yeah, I can write with a topic. I guess my last EP.
That's what I was gonna. That was gonna be my next question for both of you guys. For between Lonely Loner and Love Game, like, there's a theme there. So I was just curious if you guys started with a theme or started with just like, hey, I happened to just stumble across this. Like,
before we answer, how do you typically?
Me, it's a feeling, but it's usually a sound. Like I usually as of late, it's been a little different. I've been trying to do it the opposite way, just to see how it is. Like, just try to actually start with what I want to say. But the easiest thing is usually a sound, because whenever I hear it, I usually surprise myself. So I just kind of be mumbling. I'm like, I wasn't thinking about that. That's why I say whenever the first time I hear the beat is usually my favorite stuff, because it's like I wasn't expecting any of it. So I just kind of go, and then when I look at it, I'm like, oh, okay, that's different.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all right, cool. And then I try to like a lot of times I try to put words to it. But yeah, I usually start with the sound, because I like being surprised. And it's like, if I'm surprised, then I know somebody who's listening didn't expect it. So that's why I started, and then I try to put the words to it, and then I'll make sense of it later.
Now I feel like I write so much, or I have written so much, and I know I can actually write a song, finish a verse, finish a song. So a lot of times when I hear a beat, I hear something else every time I listen to it. Like, so the first time I listen to it, if I don't get nothing in, or remember what I did, the next time I write to it, it's going to sound completely different.
That's why he had me start recording my. He was yelling at me. As soon as I start playing a beat, I start recording. Just because, like, if I know that I like it, if I know I like the beat, I'll go ahead and start recording as soon as I sit down to write. Because same thing, I will literally sing an entire like song or whatever, and then forget everything that I just said, every melody, and then when I actually sit down to write, the song will sound completely different, and it'll sound a lot more structured, like standard and stuff like that. So, yeah, you should probably start recording. Like,
when I tell you, because when I realized how much like great stuff that I caught early when I was just trying to record it, and then what I noticed was that if I didn't record it, the next time I listened to the beat, a part of me would be trying to get back to whatever I did the first time, but I never get there. I never get quite there, and I'll be like, all right, I guess it just wasn't meant to be. And it's like, nah, you could have caught it, you just didn't catch it.
Yeah, I found that out. I started recording stuff, but then I wouldn't record it with the beat.
That makes a difference. Yeah.
Like when I'm listening to it, and I'm like, okay, all right. So then I hear the beat, and I'm like, this not. I'm not on beat no more, or I don't know what pocket I was in. Like, I hear it, but it might be a different starting point, or I don't know where the starting point was, because it's no beat, and I don't know where to come in. But maybe I should start.
Yeah, start recording. I think.
With the beat.
With the beat. That's why I started playing.
This that happened to me this morning. Like I was like, because I'm on my phone. That's the one thing I miss about Androids. I was able to record and then it'll capture the beat and my recording at the same time. So whenever I try to record a voice memo now, it just
my Androids ain't do that. So you had a special phone.
Yeah, that's what I used, because I used to be like, yo, all right, so I can record it and I can hear it back, hear exactly what I did. Now I went back and I'm like, this don't even sound on beat.
That's why I like having my MacBook.
Yeah.
Having my MacBook.
Yeah.
Just because it's small and it's like a notebook, so it's readily available. I just open it. I can just airdrop something to myself, just play the beat or type it in real quick, and then just record. Yeah. And then even if I got something in my notes, I can pull it up on my laptop and just read it. Mm. But now I got I got a song book from Crash by Co, so now I'm back writing it.
Amen. Shout out Crash by Co.
Shout out Crash by Co, because I've made some amazing songs writing stuff down.
Yeah. That's why I be writing out loud. Like, I'll write with the beat playing on my laptop so I can record it on my phone. And I just start going, or I'll vlog while I'm writing or something like that. But going back to your question about our EP, so with the Love Game, I did have a theme, but I didn't have. Actually, I did the Love Game different from how I've written any other like thing. How I did it was I decided I wanted to do like an EP based off of every month, and it's supposed to be like centered around the idea of February, which is like I was like you could either do love or you could do like Black
Groundhog's
History.
Day.
Love, Groundhog's Day, Black History, or I think like President's Day. Nobody wants to do that. So I did love, of course, and I looked into like the history of February and all that stuff. But yeah, like I was actually like doing research. And I decided to go with love. So what I wound up doing was I was originally supposed to have like 7 songs on the EP, but I picked out the beats that I felt like spoke to me in some way, and then I listed out. Like, when I was listening, I was like, oh, this sounds like I could do something as far as an intro to it. So then I wrote, like, intro next to it. And then the next few beats, I was like, okay, this sounds like Heartbreak, or this sounds like Love, or whatever. Like, just trying to see where they would fit in a full story. Like, what these beats actually feel like. And then when writing them, I didn't sit down like, all right, this one is supposed to be about heartbreak. When sitting down and writing the song, I didn't look at the list. I just went with the feeling of the song, and then that's what I wound up creating. But so I did it a little bit differently. The EP as a whole had a theme, but the songs themselves, I still went with the feeling that I felt when I was hearing it. And I tried to stay as true and authentic to what I was feeling in that moment, because I was also creating a character. So
did all the marketing.
I was creating a character, and also, but it was also like, if I was in this space, or maybe I've been in that space in the past, so how did I feel when I was in that moment, in that space? Like, or how do most women feel when they're in this space, or like, you know, and I use that. But for the most part, it was really just like feeling my way through the music, and then that in the end determined if it made it on the EP or not.
What about you?
Mine was different. I made a song. I made Lonely Loner. I might have made Lonely Loner like a year before. Hold on. Hey, my mamas. Relax. It's okay, my mamas. Alright? But yeah, I probably made Lonely Loner like a year before all the other songs. And I attempted to put Lonely Loner out. The mix wasn't right. I'm so glad it wasn't right. So I did the mix. Then the dude I sent it to master it, he mastered it, and I was like, it's not right. It don't feel like how it's supposed to feel. So I was just holding it, and then but the song is fire. So I'm like, and I'm listening to beats, and they all in the same type of realm. Like even when I was just mixing it, all the beats are like between 94 and 100, 110 or 130. That's just that one. But yeah, they like 94 to, let's say 94 to 130, and it was all had the same type of feel. Um, but it stemmed from Lonely Loner. So then, and I wrote them all in the same place. I was in the bathroom for the whole right.
The best ideas.
Come in the back.
What? I used to, it's crazy because whenever I get like a lot of inspiration, I have to use the bathroom. I don't know what it is. I'd be like, yo, ooh. I'd be like, but when that's how, a lot of times that's how I know when I stumbled on something. I was like, ooh, I didn't expect that. Hold on, let me try to hurry back. And
I wrote them all. I wrote it all in the same place. Like, ain't the same. I wrote in the shower. Like, the whole thing was done by the end of my shower. And I was like, that was the first one I wrote. And then I wrote the rest of the songs within like a week. So it was like a song a day type of thing. Like within 2 weeks, I had the whole thing. And then the interlude, never made it. I was at work. I was waiting for Shakoya to get me, because that was when she rolled past my job. And I'm in the parking lot. I'm pacing back and forth. I'm probably smiling. I'm going crazy. And I was like, that's fire. I love that. But then the beat wasn't right for that. So it wasn't even supposed to be on here. But then I was like, I feel like I need another song. It's too short. And then I just changed the beat, and I added stuff so it could flow with the beat, and now we're here. So, short answer, I wrote a song, and I always be talking about Lonely Loner, So I'm like, it only makes sense for me to have a Lonely Loner EP, and I just made it a thing. I created a character.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, so the whole EP was created around Lonely Loner.
And once you're done with yours, we want to hear about your
Yeah, I mean, I've tried it both ways. I mean, I've done projects before. So like my initial ones, it was more, I think it was feeling based first. Actually, it might, I think I might have just been creating stuff and just was like, all right, I like this together, and I think I was going more so on the sound of the beats.
Yeah, that's how I picked it too.
Yeah, but that was when I was like, that was a little while ago. Now I'm not necessarily going off the sound of the beats. I'm kind of going off of like the feel of what I'm going through, or what I want it to be about. So I'm trying it in that way.
the feel of what you're trying to capture.
Yeah, I'm trying to like to capture the feeling, not necessarily to focus on like where the beats are currently at, but like, all right, does this beat fit whatever this vibe is? And I'm trying it that way as just to see how it goes. But
so how do y'all do that? Cause I be trying to. I don't ever truly know what message I'm trying to convey.
Bro, I never know.
I just go. If I say something that sound good, I'm gonna run with that. And then if it's good, it might be the hook or something. It just depends, like however it feels. But when I hear it, I know it's it. But I never know what I want to talk about.
Yeah, I don't usually have a topic when I start. Like, I just, lately especially, it's been more so like, just be true to what you're feeling right now and see where that takes you. Because even some of the songs that I'm working on now that I'm about to release, like, they don't sound like anything that I've released in the past. And it was because I don't know, like, I let my emotion lead the way. But like, as far as like writing with a topic, right? That's what you were saying.
Like knowing what message you want to.
What message I want to convey? I mean, I don't know. I feel like by the chorus, I know what message I'm trying to convey for the most part. But like even with Pretty Girl, like when I first started that, I didn't really know what message I was trying to convey.
That's on fire.
I was just going with it, and then like I was really talking to myself. So then it was like, nah, this is. Oh, I read the lyrics, and I was like, oh, that's okay. Let's keep going with this.
A lot of times I don't know that. Most of the time I be talking to myself, like Lonely Loner. I was talking to myself. So like, what you gonna do when you all alone? Back against the wall in your cash, you gonna
reach for the tissue.
Crop myself to sleep.
But like most of it is conversations with me. Like conversations that if you was a fly on the wall, these are the type of conversations I'll have with myself. Or that I'll journal about. Stuff like that. So I feel like it had to be, if we just staying on that topic or that project, they all had to feel, I guess it's a feeling. It's not even what I'm saying. It's more of a feeling.
Yeah. And with the Love Game, it was the feeling, but it was, I guess the deciding factor in the song, like if it was going to stay on the EP, was does this feeling move the story along, or is this feeling a part of the story? Does this vibe make sense within the context of what this world that we created? But as far as that, I mean, like everything else is just like, I just be going with the feeling. I don't know about you.
And you talking about like to piggyback off of talking about this world we created, and go back to the original topic of staying present.
Mm-hmm.
Understanding that you are creating
Mm-hmm.
the world, the reality that you're experiencing. You really only have one choice but to be present.
Word.
Like either be present or you're gonna be too anxious to get anything done, like to really execute, or too depressed to actually execute. So like it's only right to be present.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because for me, the more I try and think my way through what this thing means, is the it pisses me off, because the more I try and think my way out of it, the more it ends up being predictable. It ends up being just regular, and I'll be like, this ain't. What was I at? What did I spend all this time? And then,
where did I spend all this time? You missed the opportunity now because you're trying to think through every option. But it's like I feel like a lot of times we already have the answer. We just question it. Because like, I never did this before. I never went through this before. So why should I have this answer? But if we believe that energy doesn't die or can't be destroyed, it's only transferred. This energy ain't nothing new.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm energy, I've experienced a lot.
Mm-hmm. Just off the strength of the energy alone.
Yeah. And then even like we talking about vibration, once you hit certain vibrations have different feelings and emotions attached to them. So again, if energy can't be created or destroyed, it's just being transferred. So you just moving along. We vibing with the energy.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't your energy.
It's your energy.
Talk to him. Stop playing with her. Biggest.
That's funny. But staying in the present. I mean, that's just. Sorry about that entire segue. It was just a random thought that I had. But
another episode.
Yeah, definitely is. But just in the aspect of just like being present, just seeing how different people create is something that I always admire. Just because everybody, because everybody approaches it in a different way. So like seeing how you got you got to this street from your house. It's like, oh, you went that way. You went the back route, then jumped over a gate, then jumped over another fence. Like, oh, you ran across a dog on your way. That's wild. How did this? And I enjoy this to see how people the story how people got to where they got to, because a lot of the times it's a lot different, or seeing how similar it is. I'm like, okay, cool. I was like, to make sure. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't just me. Like,
and then to go back off of that, I've learned to accept and embrace my perspective, because I don't think anybody has the same perspective as me. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I'll be like, life not that exciting, but the way I'll be talking about it, it's like, but I actually be doing stuff. I actually be places. I'll be seeing a lot, but then sometimes I'll be like, you've been in the house for a long time. But
yeah, I had to tell myself, like, you gotta say it like nobody's ever gonna hear it, and then if you don't like it later, cool. But say it like that's fine. But like in that very moment, it's like nobody may, like, another soul may never hear it, but I just said it just because I wanted to say it.
Right. Yeah, I like that.
All right, guys, we want to thank you guys for coming to another episode of the Grae Area Podcast.
Grae Area!
Yeah.
I am Damani, and I'm here with my lovely host,
Shakoya D.
Being Breeze, the third.
Yeah, just let us know what you guys think. How do you guys manage to stay in the present when everything's unfolding? How do you guys plan for the future? How do you guys create this? Be sure to share your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe, share the live, like the live, all of the stuff. Tell a friend. You know what it is. You know why we here.
Hit the notification bell so you know every time we make an upload. And also, we just launched a Patreon, so make sure you subscribe to our Patreon so you can watch these podcasts live along with other content that we are creating.
Yeah.
We thank you guys for being here, for joining us, and we will see you guys next time. Bye.
Adios.
Stay blessed, stay black, people.